Hello and welcome to the next in our Platform Insight interview series. I am utterly delighted to welcome Matthew Baynes from Schneider Electric to my interview with me. Welcome, Matthew.
Thank you, Nicola.
So, first of all, huge congratulations. We've just received word across the industry of your new role, which is Vice President for the UK.
Yep.
Tell us a bit about that and, of course, your career and how you've got to this new role within Schneider Electric.
Will do. Pleasure to be here with you, Nicola, and we've known each other a long time, so very excited to do this. My role is the Vice President for Secure Power Business Unit within Schneider, which is one of our key business units that we operate in, and is responsible for the manufacture of our critical power and cooling solutions, and also the data center business in general across the board. So that's my role in the zone which we call UK and Ireland, in the territory of Europe, of course. Very happy to take this role as of Jan 1st. I've had a long career in Schneider, 26 years.
Gosh, is it that long
so
now?
Yes, a long time. I think I've known you for most of it.
I think you have.
That's led me now to this role here. So I started, back in 99, so last millennia even. So as just kind of a sales guy on the ground, selling some of our core products. A couple of years later, I moved to Holland, to work in a European role, which was really good fun. Enterprise data center. I've always been in the data center space.
Yes.
Nicola, I think is fair to say. I lived in Holland for about 3 years, which was really exciting to learn about new cultures, international business, new languages, before moving back around 2004, something like that. So we're going back a while. And did a European role for data center business, which at that time, the key people building data centers were kind of the business services organizations like Fujitsu, Logica, these sorts of organizations. It's a very different
market, wasn't it?
Very, very different market, as well as enterprise building directors. The banks were the biggest builders. We got acquired by Schneider in 2007, which was really good for APC then, and they merged us with a company called MGE, and I assumed the role of the sales director for UK and Ireland for the merged business within Schneider. Did that for about 8-9 years, that role. Then moved to our global cloud and co-location segment team as a co-location segment director on a global basis. Took me back into international business, international sales. Enjoyed that very much for about 4 years in business development and strategy for co-location, before taking on my first VP role within Schneider, which was building a new team for the ecosystem around our top customers. Yeah. Ecosystem being the general contractors, the specifiers, and the panel builders, which are fundamental to the success of the segment, which led me to the end of last year and then taking this role now.
It's fantastic. Again, it's great that you've been there within that. Something that I think APC and then Schneider Electric have been really good at is allowing people to move into those different roles. So actually, by the time you've spent 20 odd years within that, you've got such a good overview of everything that is going on across what is a very, very large organisation that must actually end up helping in terms of being able to make really, really sensible decisions.
Yes, let's just say yes. Yeah. And it does indeed, Nicola. Yes, Schneider's a big organisation, fine. It has complexities, and certainly being there a long time helps with some of that. If you are, let's say, starting Schneider as new, you have to find your feet for sure. But I think any large organisation, part of helping to navigate is building a strong network. Yeah. And with 20 plus years, you can do that, of course. But and you can do that externally as well. Then bringing the two together, you can certainly, as you said, make some good strategic decisions that are for the good of the company and will benefit the customers as well.
And let's face it now, you've talked about the co-location segment, the enterprise segment, the Fujitsus and the other stuff. All of that is now part of what we all have to be looking at. It's not siloed so much anymore, bringing the hyperscalers, bringing the edge. It is one big market. Absolutely. Where everyone is interdependent. Yeah. And what an exciting time to be taking over, looking after the UK and Ireland. The last 12 months have been bonkers. So energy is at the top of the agenda. We're at Platform UK today. Yeah. And I'd love to get your opinion on where you see Schneider Electric and your overall solutions, approach to things, where you see yourself fitting into that overall conversation, and certainly from enabling those growth figures that we've been listening to today?
Yes, good question, Nicola, and is not probably one answer. I would say it's a few different views, because Schneider is a broad-based business, and we data center is a huge part of our business. We have other elements to our business that actually touch on the data center space. When we work very closely with the DNOs, the energy providers, the generation companies as well, on their strategy and their frameworks and their technology going forward. But I would say, how Schneider positions ourselves these days is actually kind of your energy technology partner.
Yeah.
So that really is fusing the two together, from energy provision and generation, with technology and innovation. And I think with those two fused together, we can really support the industry, not just data center, but the general energy industry, with some of the dilemmas that we have in the world today, which is decarbonisation, digitization, but also the growth and the huge demand that we have for energy generally around the world, with the rapid growth in population and business and urbanization. It's a big challenge, and I think Schneider's positioned very, very well to be that energy technology partner for you. As it relates to data center, as we said, we're a technology innovation firm. Part of our role in that and in that space, and what we like to be accountable for, is investing heavily in our own R&D and our own technology and innovation to support this space. That could be around energy efficiency. That contributes to being the release of energy and capacity. New technologies, perhaps that's around storage, energy storage, on-site storage, or on-site.
People don't really talk a lot about, but is just as crucial as...
It is, and microgrid technology and applications are very important for this industry. We are challenged at the moment in the data center industry. Energy, as we said, is one of the number one topics of discussion. And when we say energy, we kind of talk energy for AI, which means AI being the application, of course, which is using the energy. Vast amounts of growth there and demand. If you flip that around, and some of the things we discuss is energy for AI, fine, and that puts a burden, and people are talking about it, how can we get more? But then AI for energy. And I think that's where Schneider has a big role to play. A lot of the innovation and technology we're doing in hardware, but also software, enables you to be more efficient in how you utilize and harness your energy. And if we can do that in a very intelligent and digitized way, then we can release some of the energy capacity that's on the grid. So I think we need to flip it on its head sometimes, and actually the AI applications that are being developed in these data centers will enable us to actually provision more energy, or make better use of that energy in terms of efficiency and productivity.
It sounds like finally we're looking at this from a holistic viewpoint that takes into account all of the various areas that make up that entire ecosystem, which, as you know, we've had decades of it all being in these little silos, which I think has led us to a little bit of where we are today.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. The only way this industry will be successful is if we do actually work and collaborate together. And when I say we, that's a lot of facets to the business. Mm-hmm. We have our responsibility, and we take it very seriously in this sector. You have the hyperscalers, who are the ones driving the big demand, and neoclouds now, of course, the co-location operators, but then behind and amidst and in the middle of all of that are, as we said, that other ecosystem, the influencers, the design firms, the contractors, the builders, the panel builders, consulting firms. And then, of course, on top of all of that, you've got the finance and investment. Absolutely critical and fundamental to this, the hyper growth that we have. We need deep pockets. The industry needs deep pockets. When you look at the co-location, and I think it's certainly not for the faint-hearted, so the financial investment firms are critical to that. And our players making sure that the R&D and innovation, but also capacity, I think is something that was mentioned earlier. How does Schneider provision for the demand and the capacity that's coming? And that's on us to make sure we do that.
Have you seen your customer base change? Over the past sort of 12, 18 months, are you seeing a shift?
Yeah, neoclouds.
Yeah.
I think is probably the most obvious one you're talking about, because co-location and hyperscale's been around a long time. Neocloud is the new one. Yeah. Who are these guys? Right, so I think that's the question last year. I think we've figured them out, or we're figuring them out.
Actually know what it is now.
We're just about getting there, but it's great. It's very, very exciting. They are the most dynamic customer set we have today that we're talking to. They're almost changing the rules and the dynamics on how we design and build data centers at pace, at
So you've got to
speed.
run to keep up with...
We have to change gears as an organization. Schneider, as we said earlier, it's a big organization, and we're not the only ones. Hyperscale push the boundaries. These guys are pushing it and nudging it even further, and we have to react.
Isn't that great though? You know, we had years and years of doing things in the same way, and then all of a sudden you've got to, it's like the new kid in the playground, and you've suddenly got to change the way you're doing things to try and keep up with that.
Yeah, it's like almost another career step. Like, now what? We've got a new market, and it's very exciting. And they play differently. They absolutely play differently. And I think it's exciting for all of us, but we need to pivot our organisation and our mindset to adapt to that. Mostly it's the speed and the expectation they have that our mindset needs shifting. I think as an industry, I'm not just talking Schneider, but for sure Schneider, but the industry in itself, the pace they need to move at, the pace their investors want them to move at, means we have to up our game. Yeah. They need to deploy very, very rapidly. We're talking weeks now as opposed to months. You can't do that with traditional ways of designing and building data centers, so we need to agree on standardized reference design, standardized solutions, stocking, capacity agreements. We certainly need to look at how we assess risk and our decision making on risks and products. We need to adapt that to be very, very quick as an organization, which typically, we haven't needed to be as quick. So we definitely have to adapt, and it's exciting times.
I think the next 12 months, we've just had 12 months of all sorts of things that are particularly in the UK, but across Europe and across the global ecosystem as well. Yeah. Where do you think we're going to be going over the next 12 months?
In UK or globally or Europe?
Let's start with global, and then we'll move on to UK.
Where are we going? Goodness me. Up. At least the line of sight we have to 2030 is incredible. Whatever metric and measure, whatever report you read, the demand in gigawatts is astronomical, and will easily double the capacity we have today. So up. Yeah. There's only one way we're going. One way, any graph you look at is going in one direction, which is almost hockey stick like up. So very exciting. The US is leading the charge. It's probably 70+% of data center demand and build last year across the world. East Asia, pockets around East Asia, India, Middle East, huge growth we've seen last year and going into this year. Europe, stable last year. Pockets of growth in the Nordics and the Iberias coming up rapidly as well. And I think this year we still have a tiny hangover from the challenges we faced early last year. Yeah. But from what I'm speaking to people at this conference today, is that's ramped up massively. Demand, someone said at earlier panel, demand is back and then some. And when they say demand is back, I think they're at the stages of signing contracts, which throughout this year will translate into real data center construction. Yeah. And that's across Europe with those big pockets of hot territories, which are low cost energy provisioning for neoclouds in the Nordics, for example. The UK, again, a little bit of a dip last year. Very strong, stable economy, excellent foundation, great place to invest, good markets, experience, sustainable debt markets, investor, English speaking, not necessarily the only dimension, of course, because we have that in lots of places. But I think a very stable place to invest still. And again, excuse me, we'll probably start to see a fast ramp up towards the end of this year. End of the summer, towards the end of the year, and into 2027, we are very optimistic.
I don't think either of us is going to be retiring anytime soon, are we?
Well, no, because I'm way too young, Nicola.
It's not about age.
It's
too exciting.
Don't want to either.
No,
exactly.
It's just too exciting.
There's a lot to do. 5 years is going to be, it's going to be like a high-speed train. Yeah. That isn't going to stop, and I think a lot of people want on that train. Yeah. And I think we're in a good place at the moment in the industry, for sure.
We've been on it a while and we're not getting off it yet.
No, I know. We just keep going.
I know. Yeah. Matthew, it's been fascinating. I can't wait to see what we are talking about this time next year. Yeah. But thank you to Schneider Electric for being our partner for the last 5 years for Platform Markets Group. And thank you for sitting down with me today.
Very welcome, Nicola.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much.